John here, preaching the gospel of Jesus Christ. May you hear what God has to say to you today, as God opens ears, opens hearts, as God desires for his creation to hear him and to be one with him. He calls us to that, to himself, because he loves us. He's a loving God. He opens the doors, opens his arms, and shows us the way to get to him. He describes it to us. He lays it out. It's not it's not hidden from us. It's not kept from us. It's available. He makes it available. He sends out his disciples. He sends out his people. He sends out his word, and he says it will not return to him void. So there will be always a church. There will be a remnant. There will be people that will be saved. There must be some that enter in. And so we who are saved, we who God has touched, we say, me. We say, that's me. Me, God. I will be one of those that you spend eternity with. Let it be me. And so God has moved on us and changed our hearts and transformed us. Transformation. And people miss God, miss out on God, and they end up in eternal hellfire and damnation. Why? Because of pride, because we have some treasure in us, but it has to be purified and unearthed and refined, and God does that. God works that process in us. And what a shame, right? If there's an ore, if there's some rock, some mineral that you mine from the earth, they call it veins, right? VEIN, veins of mineral or gold or silver. You find it in the earth. It could be valuables like brass or iron, and it's a mixture in this rock, and you have to separate it out. And so man runs away, right, before we extract the valuable out of this mass of earth. Man runs off saying, hey, I've got gold in me. Yeah, but no, you need the processing of that, the separation of the good and the evil, the refining of the gold, so that you can come forth truly valuable, right? You can't just take that ore and put it in the jewelry store. You can't put it on a ring. You can't sell it. It doesn't have value. You need to process it for people to stop and say, what's that? And to see the glimmer and the glittering, the shining of how the light reflects off the gold, off the diamond. What's that? Right? That is a work of God. A person who has humbled himself and submitted himself to the work of God in their lives through the process to the end, so that God can seal that testimony. God can say, oh, he died in faith. He did not die in sin. He lived out a life that you can review and look at and point to as a reference and say, look at that man. Look at that life. Look where it ended up. By the decisions he made in faith to choose God, it got him this. So that's what we look for. That's why that's valuable. We want a good end. So we reference especially the people that have come and gone and that have finished the race, that have made a good ending for themselves in this life, because it's impossible. How? Right? Everyone seems to experience calamity and tragic failure, and failure of their body, failure of their mind, failure in relationships, failure in finances. How did you succeed and not fail? How did you succeed at life? Through God and God alone, because he knows the way. He knows the future. He knows the secrets, and he shares that. He shares that with us. He tells us. And so we're excited to walk on this journey, because we have that guarantee now. Oh, it wasn't in Geico. It wasn't in insurance. It wasn't that. No, that, right? They don't promise you success. They say, we're here for you when you fail. We're here because you expect to fail. Right? Buy us because you know you're going to fail. So you see that that is what the world chooses. They settle. Well, at least someone's going to pay for the medical bills, that pays for the plastic tubes that go into my body so that I could die hooked up and tethered like I'm caught in some kind of spider web to all these machines and die to the sound of beep, 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 and hospital gowns and hospital smell and hospital food. And yeah, that's where I want to go, right? At the end of my life. No, that's not what man is saying, right? We don't desire that. We settle with that, though, because we have no power over it. We have no power over it. And it's interesting, as the Word of God is communicated, one thing that's emphasized is that he communicates the gospel not in word only, but in power. In power. And the Pharisees were criticized for seeking by the letter of the law and not by faith. And today the same thing continues. People are sent to, they go to seminary. They're doing the same thing. They're searching the words and the meaning of the words through archaeology and translation. They look at the original text, the original Greek and the Hebrew and the fibers of the paper and the history of it. And they miss God because God's present, God's here, God's right now, God's in your room. How are you going to find the God that's standing right there in your room looking at you? What do you mean? I don't see him. Exactly, right? How do you see him? Well, according to this book that I get off this bookshelf, in the year 1742, this historian said, no, we're talking about how do you grab God. Well, according to this book, no, right? How does that get you to see God? Okay, so, right, the historian might shake his head, scratch his head. Right? Well, I know one guy who, right? So, no, show us, right? Demonstrate. And so we go to church where there's a lineage of it, where there's an inheritance, a heritage of that. Oh, I've seen God. I've personally seen God. So, yeah, my pastor was sharing a testimony of how he went to heaven and he came back and he said he cannot explain what he saw. He cannot, because words won't do it justice. Right? So I understood, but I also knew that I also didn't understand. Right? Okay, so he's got that personal experience that he has that cannot be communicated. And so, yeah, this is his experience. It's not my own. So I'm not speaking from my personal experience. It's hearsay, right? It's what I heard from him. He's describing that. But God is enticing us, provoking us, saying, hey, that's available. I did that for this man. What do you want to see? Don't you want to see things? Don't you want to know me? Don't you want more? And so God makes that available. And so what I can testify of is my personal experience of Jesus Christ, right? So those that are saved, born again, they have their own measure of Jesus Christ, their encounter, their installment, their understanding so far of Jesus Christ, because we continue. The Christian life is supposed to continue. It's supposed to be a continuation of growth, of relationship, of depth, of understanding and love, the knowledge of God, the experiences with God, the love of God, the zeal of God. These things are supposed to grow as we walk with Christ. It's not supposed to be stagnant. It's not supposed to be at a high point at the beginning and then some kind of decline as you get older. No, you're supposed to be pressing in and you're supposed to be growing, having more of that. And so I was going to mention, when we speak to unbelievers, if we don't actually have Jesus Christ, this unspeakable joy, this unspeakable hope. It is unspeakable. And yet that's the mystery and the wonder and the curiosity of it. What's going on? How is this happening? What are we doing? Because the Pharisees sought it by the letter. They were reading the word, and they knew the law, and they missed God. They understood the container and the form of it, but they missed the power. They missed the spirit, the life in it. Jesus said, search the scriptures. They speak of me, and yet you miss me. You read the word, and this word, you read every single word, and yet you didn't get Jesus. You missed him. You spoke of him, and yet when he came, and he's right there, his face is right here, and you miss him. He hides himself from you, or you're talking to him saying he can't be who he says he is, while he is who he is. Talking to God, saying you're not God, when God's right in front of them. We can miss God when God's right there. And so it's fascinating, right? That's what a wonder that we are trying to, that we have something when we're saved, salvation. Yeah, I can't describe it. I mean, I can, but I can't give it to you, right? There's no word that is in the dictionary, right, that you can look up. It's by faith and power, by grace, by his mercy, by the power of God, not by my might, but by the Spirit of the Lord. So I could tell you, right, Jesus Christ died for our sins, right, for us to, he shed his blood, the remission of our sins, so we could be washed clean. You could understand, you know, the words I'm saying. I understood when I was unsaved, and when I was rejecting the gospel, when I was hardened, when it wasn't my time to be saved, and I understand what you're saying. Mr. Evangelist, right, who's trying to talk to me in front of the supermarket, on the college campus, online, at school, who might be my friend, might be a stranger. Yeah, okay, so you guys are all saying, this man named Jesus Christ. I understand. I can follow you. You're talking about a man. His name was Jesus Christ. Okay. And he died on a cross. Okay. And he shed blood. Okay. I'm understanding. I'm following. And his blood cleansed us, cleanses our sin, and he has bought our forgiveness. Okay, so I'm starting to lose you. Right? But I still understand each word that you're saying. I'm starting to lose understanding of, okay, what's this concept that you're talking about? Sin, salvation. Why did he have to do that? Why do we have sin? Why do I need forgiveness? So even if I understood it, right, you could study it and understand, oh, they're talking about, it's connected to Genesis, what happened with the fall of man. You could explain it, and I could still be an unbeliever. Why? We preached the message. Right? We told the story. And yeah, so I know someone, I guess many people who know the story as well. They say, yeah, I know it, I heard it. And yet, how are they not saved then? Right? So we have this misconception that, oh, that's what Christianity is. You just have to know it. Just read the book. Just hear the words. Understand the story. And yet, my pastor told me something powerful, that when we are in church, hearing the message, sometimes we might not understand what is being preached, but I better understand that there's still something that's happening. It's not just the form of the words, the semantic of the words, the meaning of the words, and how they're strung together. And no, there's also a spiritual layer. There's also many avenues, angles, layers of things and events that are happening in that moment. Yes, there's understanding. Yes, God does want me to hear and understand the frame of things and the structure of things and what the words do mean. But even if you don't, there's also something else that's happening through the communication of the sound and the presence, and all of us gathered here together in one mind and united. And as God's Spirit is moving on us, we're changing. He's changing us in the moment as I'm subjecting myself, surrendering myself under the authority, under this word, under this sound, uniting myself with this purpose in the gathering, in this body. There is a transformation, a shifting, a molding, a uniting of my identity, my form, my spiritual, even my physical. I'm being shaped. I'm actively being shaped as I'm sitting in that seat, as I'm sitting in this place, in this building, in this sound, among these people, day after day, hour after hour. There's a shaping that's going on. And so not understanding this salvation, right? Even my personal salvation, I could explain to you in words, right? I could say, yeah, I'm changed. I've changed when I was saved, when I accepted Jesus Christ. My whole life changed 180. It turned upside down. It flipped. And yeah, I was shocked with the many levels, right? My understanding of, oh man, what was evil, what I thought was evil was good. What I thought was good was evil. I was deceived. What I knew was wrong. And then what I felt, man, all these emotions, they were not tied to reality. I was depressed about things I didn't need to be depressed about. I was elated about things that were fleeting and vain. Oh, wow. And I cared about all the wrong things, and I didn't care about all the things that were important. And yeah. And the feeling inside, the hope inside, this change in you, that how can you describe it? How can you describe it? You can take your time and continue to, that's why we sing, right? We sing because it's so much. It's, wait, let me get a guitar. Let me just, words won't do it. The story won't do it. I've just got to sing a hallelujah. I've got to Hosanna. I've got to lift up my hands. Excuse me while I worship God. Right? You were just talking to the man. Yeah, but in order to fully communicate, I just feel like praising right now. I just feel like giving God glory. It's just not enough just to talk to you. Right? The words don't do it. The words don't do it. Let me show you. Right? I'm going to go worship. I'm just stirred up to worship, trying to communicate to you what God put in me. I'm starting to bubble with joy, with the hope and the salvation, the depths of darkness that He pulled me out of, and this light that I live in, that I feel, that I rejoice in, that, just to behold God, knowing that He's made me light against His light. Man, just let me sing. Let me take a praise break. I'm sorry. Right? Yeah. So what's going on? No, the words can't communicate. The words can't take what's in me, what He's put in me. And I can't just use the words to communicate that to you. It's not going to transfer. There's this transmission that it won't happen. It's not the words. You might be distracted. Right? You might be deceived. If you're like me, right, who went through the schooling process, who went through college, who was told by my culture and my family, and that, who valued education, who was told to read books, who was told to get good grades, and, it's in America and Asia and I don't know wherever else in the world. Yeah, education. It's about the books. It's about the authors. It's about the learning. It's about the textbook. It's about the grammar. It's about the rules. It's about, and so, you might want more words from me. Can you write a book? Yeah, but that won't do it. That won't do it. You need faith. You need faith. You need God to touch you. You need to be born again. You need to be born by the Spirit of God. The words alone, no, they won't do it. The Pharisees had access to the words. They had access to the words, but they didn't have access to God. The words were from God. So how come they don't have access to God? They had access to the words. So there's still something more. We need the Spirit of God by the Spirit. By the Spirit. Just like a man, even without God, right? Just from man to man, right? We already experience that, feel that. Right? Even just your feelings, you find you can't communicate, right? So we express that, we complain about that, about even basic emotions. Oh, if I could just capture my feeling, if I could just put my feeling inside you, right? There's that desire. Oh, I just want to be understood. Oh, if I could just share this. And so there's some despair there of man feeling like I'm alone and no one understands me, no one feels what I feel. And yet that's broken. Oh, wait, God knows exactly how I feel. Wow. Wow, you felt alone, and now, oh, I'm not, and I was never alone. Oh, yeah, you could have access to that, the knowing of that, the comfort of that. You could have the comfort of God giving His own Spirit to you. So you can know God, and you know that God knows you. You could have that level of unity with God and walk in that comfort and that joy and that peace and that unity and that power of God. You could walk this earth with God in you. Right? So you just understood what I said. But you didn't feel it. Right? You don't have it if you don't have it. And yet that's what we're preaching. That's what we're stirring up men everywhere to believe that, hey, the kingdom of God is available now and today. It's near in your mouth. You could confess with your mouth your own wickedness, your own wretchedness, and call out to God. Say, God, I want you. I've had enough of this, right? That doesn't meet it. That doesn't cut it. That's not enough. I want you that I've heard is enough, that satisfies. I want you, God, what you offer, what you provide, that living water that I heard about. Fill me like that. I see, yeah, that's why you need to go to church. You need to know and meet people of God that have tasted and seen of this goodness and be stirred up yourself, provoked yourself. They saw Jesus and they reached out to Jesus. I want what's in that man. I want that transfer. I want to receive. Is the words alone weren't enough unless they access what was in the words, the substance, the essence, the faith, the package material, the substance, what God puts in there. Not just the word. It is a lot deeper. It's a lot deeper. Can you access it? And some people, they could through what they heard from Jesus. Some people, they needed to touch Jesus. Some people, they needed to cry out to Jesus. And then God puts that in His disciples, in those that He sends. And it's still accessible through them. And so that's the world we're living in. That's the time that we're living in today. If you didn't know, if you can take the time out from all your vanities, all your vain pursuits, all the things that waste your time, steal your time and steal your life, if you can press the pause button on that and turn aside to hear this message, to look unto God, your creator, your maker, that's calling you as you're distracted with all those things. If you could turn aside and hear God, the one that loves you and that's ready and willing to save you from all that you're panicking about, all that you worry about, all your fears, all the things that are like an undertow, just pulling you down, just weighing you down, stealing sleep, stealing your energy, stealing your hope. No, there's a God who can take you out of all that distress, of all that sorrow, of all that darkness, and show you the kingdom of God, His riches, his secrets. He can open up his treasures to you. The ones that actually answer the thirst and the hunger and the questions in your heart. Yeah, what you think that all the material riches would give you an answer. And God plainly tells you he's trying to save you time and distress and despair. Those, you think through that material, through those things. It could be physical things, conceptual things, dreams, ideas, ambitions, anything. If it's not God, you think it's going to touch that part of you, that unspeakable part of you. No. He put eternity in you, in your heart. Only God can touch that. Only God can speak to that part of you. He made you. He made it so nothing else can touch that part of you except God. So, yeah, we value our feelings so much. And yet, what does it do? It doesn't, it's got to translate. It's got to translate into action. It's got to translate into movement, translate into what God is calling us to do, to obedience. And so all those feelings, if it won't translate into you moving to God, you're into a pursuit of God, right? Then that was all for nothing. Right? All the highs, all the lows. And so we don't want to live like that. We don't want to laugh like that. All this activity just to go to hell? So that's amazing that even before I was a believer, we were hearing about this, heaven and hell. People know the concept, heaven and hell. Heaven and hell. And yet, we need God. We need God to even desire, to even consider it deeply enough to have it weigh on our hearts. Whoa, this is serious. Hell. Yeah, okay, so what made you stop? Right? Because, how many years of my life did I hear that and it was just a cultural topic? It was just a vocabulary. It was just, okay, wow, interesting, heaven and hell. Yeah, I could consider it if I wanted to, but I was too busy with mowing the lawn, painting the house, hanging out with friends, laughing at another joke, the next joke, turning on the TV, listening to his jokes. Watching, I don't know, what's next? Electric cars, space stations? Wow. But what does that do, right? What does that do with the next president, right? And yet, approval ratings are going down. They're going down. But they're campaigning now, so hope is going up. And you vote them in. You voted. Oh, everyone's patting each other on the back. Good job. Wow. Like it's some morally good thing to do. You voted. Wow. Have a pin. Have a sticker. Approval ratings are going down. Right? No one's catching on to the cycle. They still want to vote. Hope is going up. Approval ratings are going down. Right? How old are you? And you still think that's where the answer is? Oh, if we just change the policy, how old are you? You haven't caught on that nothing's changing like that. Not through that. Not in the world, not in you. There's just a lot of up and down, and then ending in hell. That's the same ending. Every story is the same for the unbeliever. A lot of gibberish, hell. A lot of activity, hell. So that's, just discarded. That's why this book is thick, but it's not, it's still, You could hold it in your hand. It's not this thick. It's not like the encyclopedia. It's not collecting all the stories. No, it's not to be regarded. No. It's how do you make it to heaven, though? Like, that's what we want to know. That's special. That's a reference. Who made it? Who overcame? Who had victory? And so you can be one of those. Job said, oh, if my words were in a book, and it ended up in a book. It was captured because he overcame. He broke through. He grabbed hold of God. He met God. God touched him. He was humble enough to be used by God, to be set up by God, to be an example, to be lifted up, to be sealed, to be written in the book. That can be us. We can be a part of that. We can be part of that legacy, part of that continuance of the work of God, and not refuse, not a work of Satan. Right? Satan destroys things. He brings things down. You're supposed to have an incredible record and story of the work of God, the hand of God on your life, and all that he's done. That's notable. People want to hear that. But if you succumb to the devil, succumb to your flesh, and you can't control yourself, and you can't say no to your flesh, and no to sin, no to your own soul, you just go with it, and you let yourself be seduced, and you succumb to the devil, then he brings all that down. He makes it nothing. He destroys your testimony, so that it's something that people don't want to hear. Oh, another one of those. Oh, another failure. Oh, another life, another activity that ends in hell. And so, yeah, just like the politics, people are fooled by it. And even if you're young, even if you're 10, 12 years old, don't you have parents, right, that have been through that cycle, that can tell you, son, let me tell you, through all the years I've been living, maybe your parents, I don't know, they're 40, 50, they should have seen by now, right? Look, it's not that. It doesn't work. And they fool you every time. They all make promises, and they don't keep them, and things don't change. Yeah, there's no salvation in there. Yeah, they can change your roads. They can, they can add a street in your neighborhood, and then you go to hell. So, yeah, I wasn't hearing that. I wasn't hearing that when I was growing up. I heard heaven, I heard hell, but I wasn't considering it. Like, wait. Put that textbook down. Put that phone down. Put that controller down. Did you just hear? Your life ends up in heaven or hell. You need to consider this. No, I was busy. I need to consider this marshmallow, this s'mores. I need to consider vain pursuits and temporary pleasure after temporary pleasure after temporary pleasure. Wait, you're not hearing that, right? Oh, temporary. So, yeah, where is this all going? Because death is not temporary. Right? Oh, yeah, that should make you sweat and panic, but this is the foolishness of man, right? On our deathbed, now you want to consider, I'm going to die. As if you didn't know. You did know, but you didn't consider. And so it's God, by the grace and mercy of God, that, it's impossible to actually take things that we should take seriously, unless God touches us and moves us by his grace. He saves us. It's his work from the beginning. And so, you want God. You want his guidance. You want his intervention. You want him to speak into your life. You want him to speak into your heart, into your mind. Because if you don't know what God wants you to know, you don't know nothing. Right? So, you know the stats for this baseball player, but so what? What value is that? Right? So we have simulated value, fake value. Right? So, the value is such a fickle thing in the world. It's worth nothing. Tomorrow it's worth $1 million because, this person cares about it. Bill Gates wants to buy it off of you. It's become a historical artifact. The next day it's worth a penny. What happened? Oh yeah, they're not interested anymore. And so I can't sell it. Yeah, if no one's interested, then the value drops just like that overnight. Yeah, they don't care about it anymore. Oh, but it was a collector's item. Yeah, because there was a community of people that would buy it, but now they won't. Wait, so this doesn't have inherent value? Yeah, it's trash now. What? Yeah, you see all that in the trash can? It's what you got in your hand. Everyone threw it away. The times have changed. The culture has changed. Wait, so yeah, the value, I don't understand. The value, wasn't it important? It just goes up and down like that. Right? So they play with you. Right? Yeah, and how is that going to affect your understanding of your own value? Man, what am I? Right? And so everything is, that's what Satan does, introduces that confusion and chaos. To the point where now we say there's no truth. Yeah, we've come this far to have the audacity to say there's no truth. So wait, is that true what you're saying? Yeah. What are you saying? There is no truth. And you're saying that's true? Yeah. Oh, goodness. Right? We're confused. You know what you just did there? All right. So, yeah, how can people sell that and people buy that? Yeah, we've gotten that far. They've even labeled it. Yeah, and that's the pride of man, right? We label things as if that gives validity to it, as if that, it gives a false sense of control over it. All these doctors labeling diseases, labeling symptoms. But if you uncover it, if you unbox it, if you just ask another question, and so what does that mean though? And they can't go beyond the label. Oh, we just called it that? Wait, so you don't actually understand it. It sounded like you did. Wow. Before I asked you the question, right? Oh, that when you have little silver spots that appear on your hand, that's called silver tonkinitis semafood. Wow. So what's that? That's the name that we gave it. Yeah. So wow, you have a name for it. Tell me more about it. We just have a name for it. And that's basically what a lot of us are doing, right? A lot of what you see, they just put that in front. And so even with, there is no truth. And they slap the label on that. They say, oh, it's postmodernism. What is that? What is that? What, right? So modernism. Oh yeah, modern, like now. So it's post now. Yeah, that's the times that we live in. Yeah, so we all are in mass confusion. They even ask each other that. They come up with the term, and they're like, wait, what do we mean by that? I don't know. So it's like the devil mocking us, right? To describe a time where no one knows anything. And the very term itself, people are asking, wait, what does this term mean? What did we just label ourselves? What did we just label the time? Oh, it means we're confused. So, yeah, we continue in that. And yet, when you're saved, you receive Jesus Christ. He goes beyond the words. And so we continue in our confusion with the Bible. We read the Bible, and with these words, we're confused with these words. Oh, I know. Just go to Proverbs, right? I heard there's wisdom in there. This is the book of wisdom. Hear, ye children, the instruction of a father, and attend to know understanding. Yeah, I already know that verse. I heard it. I know it. For I give you good doctrine. Forsake ye not my law. For I was my father's son, tender and only beloved in the sight of my mother. Yeah, I know that too. I could recite it. I memorized each word. And yet, we missed God. Right? So, because he said, obey my voice to the Israelites. The sacrifice and offering, oh no, I loathe that. What kind of fast is this? Did I tell you to fast? And they're scratching their head. Right? But you told us to sacrifice. But you told us to fast. And now you're saying You don't like it? You don't care for it? Right? Why? Because we're not sincere. we want to do the outer appearance of the things. We want to study the Greek and the Hebrew. We keep wanting to prove ourselves, glory in ourselves. And God says, you're not seeking me. Right? Yes, I'm telling you to read the Bible. I'm telling you to fast. I'm telling you to sacrifice. But you're still doing that. I'm telling you, this is how you access me. And you're doing something in your heart, in your mind, to who's gonna desire God because they desire God. Who's gonna go after God? Yeah. So this woman with an issue, 12 years of blood, she touched Jesus, and he said, "She touched me. Someone touched me. She touched me." And yeah, his disciples saying, "Everyone's touching you. Everyone's touching you. Everyone's reading the Bible. Everyone's a Christian." Yeah, no. Someone touched me. Explain that to us. Explain that. He's not explaining it. He's not. He's just letting the woman be an example. Look, do you understand? I'm exonerating her. I'm giving her honor. I'm memorializing her right now. Yeah, by faith, he wants you to seek after the heart of God. Yeah, there's many words in the Bible. Yeah, there's many words that I'm saying right now. And yeah, he doesn't want you to stay at that level, at the intellectual, at the understanding of each word, at the meaning of the words. No, the heart of God. Your heart and his heart. He wants that to connect. The word is create. The words, yeah, they create some kind of bridge, but he wants you to walk. Yeah, you have feelings, but he wants you to translate them. Translate those feelings into a reaching out and a touching of God. So yeah, many people, if they're not giving themselves, their whole self, then they're not going to find God. They could go to church, but they're not there. They left pieces and parts of them at home, at their job. They're scattered. They're fragmented. Who wants God so much that they brought all of themselves here, like Hannah? Right? No, I am here. I am here. Right? Eli is saying, "Oh, she's drunk." Yeah, because it's just so much of her right now here. She brought everything. And yeah, he tells her, "Stop being drunk." She says, "No, I'm not drunk. I'm so sorrowful. I'm seeking God with everything I have." And she gets an answered prayer. Yeah, God sees her. Eli sees her, answers her prayer. God uses Eli to answer her prayer. And she receives a child. She receives a child. Like what message, what word would have prompted her, moved her to do that? It was God, the hand of God, the very Spirit of God himself, working everything in the universe. Yeah. What is man? Yeah. David was so surprised. He was in wonder that, man, we live in this world. Look at all this material. Look at all this, the largeness of the world. And yet God is focused on you, moving on you, on those that are his sons. Yeah, there's much words surrounding him, and the messaging and the story and the witnesses are going to record it and describe it. But who's going to walk it and live it? Who's going to burn? Who's going to dwell with the everlasting burnings? So, yeah, for me, it was hard for many years. Just, I don't understand. I don't understand. Yeah, it's the surface. It's the words. It's the intellect that cannot touch God, that cannot grasp God. So God himself, by his mercy, broke through all that. And when I studied religion. I was fascinated by religion and just how it motivates and people, it moves people at a cultural level, right? They say, or anthropology and just study of people and their culture. I was interested at that level, like what's going on from the outside. And so I was studying these religions, and then I skipped over Christianity because I said, I don't want to read the whole thing though. I feel like I'd have to read this whole thing to understand it. Whereas all the other religions, you know, you just get pieces of it. A story here, a song there, and you're just kind of glancing at it, getting perspectives, getting a taste of each. Yeah, it's like going to a food fair, right, with some food from every country. You're like, oh, let me just taste it. Oh, I kind of understand. Okay, so that's interesting, yeah. Because why didn't I do that with Christianity? I could have just a taste of it, but it seemed like, no, it was complete. It was compact. It was like a full thing. Yeah, God says, no, you got to believe all of me. You got to have all of me. Everything else, I treated it as cultural, as, yeah, no, this will suffice. Just let me see. What kind of banners do you use? What kind of colors do you like? What kind of art do you have? Okay, I think I get the idea. Let's look into this one. With Christianity, yeah, I didn't conclude that. I felt like I didn't understand it. Other things I felt like I understand it enough. I get it. That's enough. With Christianity, I got glimpses of it. I saw some of the artwork. I heard some of the stories, but I felt like, no, but I don't get it. I don't get it. There's still something I'm not getting. So that was before I was saved, before I understood anything. And yet there was still that, yeah, Christianity was an exception. I was not able to, or wasn't allowed to feel that way. Concluded. Oh, everything else, all the other religions, I felt like, that's enough, I got it. I felt like I wasn't missing on something important or grasping the whole thing that was necessary. In Christianity, I skipped over it saying, I can't do that. And so skipping it, ignoring it, running away from it, it was a mystery. How I got saved. Why do I believe? Yeah, no, I didn't choose to. It wasn't of my own will. I didn't study it. I didn't approach it in an academic way. It was God himself by his Spirit who just grabbed me. His hand came down, broke through the dimensions and the realms, and said, okay, I'm just going to move you. I'm going to flip this switch in your life. I couldn't stop it. There was no, with everything else, you're studying economics 101, studying psychology 101, you could just close the book. Yeah, stop halfway. No, but when God wanted to save me and he was pulling the lever, no, I couldn't put my hand on his hand and say, no, don't convert me. Don't make me believe. No, he just, okay, there you go. This is true. My whole life just changed. I'm going in this direction now. Man, everything I knew was fake. Everything I knew, that was false. This is real. This is true. Jesus Christ hinged on that one name. Jesus Christ. That does not make intellectual sense. And yet, my whole life, it just turned and was set, like you set a stone in some kind of fitting, right? Like the gem on a ring. It's just, oh yeah, no, it's waiting. Just put that in there and close it. There, it's complete. And God does that with people. With Apostle Paul, knows, what are you doing? Killing Christians. You'll never be a Christian. You kill Christians. Of all people, he is not going to be a Christian. Until one day God says, no, I choose him. He's a chosen vessel. No, that doesn't make sense. That's impossible. You cannot make this guy a Christian. He's going to feel ashamed, to condemned. He killed Christians. Like, he'd be afraid of being a Christian. It wouldn't make sense to be a Christian. No, break that, break that, break that, break that. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. God says, God wants. Yeah, he just controls the whole universe. He just makes everything happen. If I want this to happen, it's going to happen. I'll have mercy on whom I will have mercy. Is it up to you, oh man? Do you judge God? No, so he proves himself strong. He proves he's the judge. He's the creator. He's in full control. Through everything he does, he's just proving that over and over and over again. And he's looking for the men, the people that will surrender to that, surrender to him, acknowledge him as that. Wow, God, you are. You do that. You do what you do. So do what you do. Do your will, God. I give up. I give up my opinions, my preferences, my opinions. I'm very interested in you, God. What else do you have to say? What else are you going to do? What else do you do? I want to know more about you. You're very interesting. Me, I've had enough of me. And the prodigal son, man, my choices, my actions, my smarts, I thought that led me to the end. That is a picture of hell. Eating pig's food, becoming a pig. Here, yeah, that's hell. It's an image of hell. It was merciful of God, so that he doesn't have to be in hell, looking around him at the final place, saying, "Oh, I made a mistake." No, he let him have a preview and say, "Are you sure? You want to settle on this? You want to close the book at this ending? This is where it all ends?" Because, yeah, your choices. You choose you. This is where it ends up. And he said, no, this can't be. This can't be the ending. I don't want this. I don't like this. There is my Father. Yeah, the only alternative, if you don't want this, yeah, you know, oh, my Father's good. My Father's rich. It's not me. It's my Father. My Father. Let me return to my Father. He runs back to his Father. And his Father receives him because he sees the heart, the broken heart, the contrite heart, the humility. Oh, he's done with himself. He's back. He's back. He's back. He's alive. He's come back to life. He's come back from the dead because he chooses the Father. He's done with himself. He chose the Father. Yeah. So receives him, throws a party, and welcome back. Welcome back.